How to identify a counterfeit. Highlights.
Counterfeit, it has the form of the real thing, or it has the form of what your desire or God sent is, but it is formed through deception.
If you saw those little traces and people be like, it's nothing. I'm sure when we get married, he'll be fine. No, he's not going to be fine. No, she's not going to be fine. It's going to be amplified. It's going to be louder because guess what? They don't need to impress you anymore. They already got you.
Women and men of God, they fantasize about being married. And if you're in la la land or daydreaming all day about this, let me tell you, the enemy is going to present something to you. You'll say, I had a dream about him. Just because you had a dream about him does not mean that he's the one. Everything that God had established, there was a counterfeit. Satan always presents a counterfeit. And his thing is to make us or to deceive us to fall for something that is not God. What I've seen a lot of singles do is they speak what they desire to the counterfeit, and then the counterfeit conforms to what they desire.
They're telling it to the wrong person, or even just saying it out there. Oh, this is what I want. And they go on that first date. So what you looking for in a man? What you looking for in a woman? And you think, oh, he's just so cute. Oh, he just, no. This just a job description. You just like we would make a job application at a place of work, they usually give you a job description. They say, well, this is what we're looking for. Don't people actually tweak their resumes to fit that job description just so they can get a job?
One thing that I've learned in working with HR is that they do multiple interviews so that in the conversation it is really revealed who the candidate is.
Right. You are the HR manager of your life. You have the ability to hire and fire anybody in your life. You want to give them that place in your life, you better do a thorough investigation, a thorough interview.
A man or a woman of God who cannot put God first can't put you first. If you put God first and he doesn't want to put God first, he's a counterfeit. If he calls you to compromise your obedience to God, let me say this, he is a counterfeit. Now this thing has become an idol in your life. And when you have anything before God, God cannot speak to you. So where he would have wanted to warn you about the counterfeit, you have made the counterfeit an idol. He can't speak to you.
You can't even hear him, even if you wanted to speak.
And I can only imagine it's so much pressure now if you're still a virgin and what's happening. You know, there's so much temptation all around. But I said, Lord, take the desire for sex. Take the desire to be with somebody. I don't want to be undone. I want to be ready. I want to be ready. And I said this out of my mouth. My next relationship will be the man I married. I didn't want to waste any time. I didn't want to be with somebody knowing that I was not fixed. I didn't want to waste his time. If he was a real man of God coming to me and he was ready and I knew I was not fixed, I don't want to waste time. Although you desire marriage, is it your season for it? And some people settle outside of their season. Like it takes courage to say, you know what, although I desire to be married, this isn't my season though. Like imagine meeting Mr. Right. And then like you have to tell him, it's not you, it's me. That's a lot of what I processed in my singleness. I'm undone. I'm still being worked on. God is still transforming me. God is still converting me. God is still taking things out of me that doesn't belong. He's pruning me. He's processing me. He's washing me. He's cleansing me.
We seem to forget that God works with whole individuals. He doesn't work with halves, right? I know it's kind of cute to say, oh, this is my other half. You know, we get it. But in all honesty, God does not do halves. He does wholes, okay? And he brings two whole people together and it's still one person as far as he's concerned. I call it the God mathematics.
What I have noticed from previous generations is that some of them settled for the wrong man. Like they stayed in the marriage because financially it worked for them or it sustained them. You know, some of them were cheated on. Some of them, a lot of that happened in the previous generations. And so I want to bring language to that because although you might see your grandparents celebrating 50 years of marriage, that doesn't mean that they did it the God way. I want to be married with purpose.
With purpose,
To fulfill purpose. So if my marriage has a purpose, then it's ordained for us to fulfill a God purpose. So that means that your marriage actually has movement. It's not just existing. We're not just counting years. We're not just counting days. That's not our focus. Our goal is not to say, oh, we've been married 12 years or 30 years. But our marriage is a reflection to say, this is what we have built and pioneered for the Lord. And here's the legacy from that. Here are the souls that's attached to that. Here are the people that have been delivered from what God has allowed us to build, what God has graced us to build. We don't just glorify God for the wedding day and at the altar because of what God has done. But everything that we do points to the glory of God. And I think, that should be the focus. I need those that are under the sound of my voice, if you are single, to deal with the traumas of you making failed decisions. Because a lot of singles, they're scared. Fear immobilizes them. They feel like, I don't feel like I can choose the right person. I'm afraid. So they don't even let their hearts be open to receiving the person that God has for them. A lot of singles, that is their biggest fear. I want to tell you, deal with your traumas of making the wrong decisions. If you stick with God, if you stay with God, if you're submitted to God, if you have a relationship with God, if you seek God daily, if you honor God, the Bible says the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. So if you honor God in every move that you make, every decision that you make for your life, if you wait on him to give you the clearance and the answer, he will.
A counterfeit is a counterfeit. It's a bit like money, isn't it, ma'am? You know, a fake $100 bill will always be a fake $100 bill. It stays fake.
How to identify a counterfeit. Watch full video on the Maggie Mugai Show YouTube channel today.